Alrighty, good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Alderson. Welcome to your next video update here. So as you can see, house looks a lot different than last time you were here. We actually have sheetrock hang complete at this point in time. They're actually out there in the garage getting ready to start taping up all these seams. So we'll give you a little grand tour of the house here, kind of talk about a few things that I'm looking for as far as the sheetrock install goes. So as we walk into this bedroom right here, some of the things that I'm initially looking for is when my guys are in here installing sheetrock, I want to look at their overlap on their sheets of sheetrock. So anytime I've got any sort of overlap between, one sheet on top of another, I want to make sure that all their seams are at least overlapped by one stud bay. So anywhere where I've got seams that are, 24 inches on center, like what you see right here, you would see the next seam, if it requires one, at least 24 inches away from that other seam. And what that's gonna do is help reduce that chance that you might have any sort of sheetrock cracks or paint cracks, as the house settles and all that fun stuff. So another thing that I always like to look for too, and some things I usually get comments about as we're in this process, is if you haven't already noticed that little gap right underneath the sheetrock throughout the house here. So what I'm looking for there is I want to make sure that they have a little bit of a gap there. I don't want the sheetrock sitting anywhere on the actual concrete itself. As you know, the concrete actually, it evaporates moisture, especially being a newer slab. It's going to take about 2 years for the slab to fully cure. So something I'm looking for is to make sure that they have at least a little bit of standoff from the sheetrock around the house to make sure that that sheetrock's not going to soak up any moisture through the slab. So looks like they did a pretty good job in here so far. Another really important piece that I always look for is going to be here in the bathroom in here. So this is the master bathroom here, and you'll notice as we walk in here, you got a little bit different color of sheetrock. So if you can't remember, when I talked about this at the build quality orientation, there's a lot that goes into our tile shower applications, and this is kind of the first step in the whole process. So we use a moisture resistant sheetrock to ensure that, if any water does happen to get behind your tile, that this is one step that we give you some protection on, is the moisture resistant sheetrock. Another thing that I'm looking for here is I want to make sure that they're using moisture resistant screws. And they've done a good job of that here. I don't see any of the black sheetrock screws that you've probably seen already. So these are the standard sheetrock screws that these guys are using, and the ones that they use in the moisture resistant sheetrock is a little bit different. And really the whole point of that, obviously,